Full disclaimer, macadamia nuts are my favorite nut. Okay, don't make a mistake with that, all right? They're super high fat content, very low carbohydrate content, but there's a big but. In the world of fiber, which is getting pretty interesting if you start looking at all of the microbiome research that's coming out, hazelnuts have a very interesting place. Okay, so I want to share with you a little bit of research that's come out in the world of hazelnuts and what I've kind of discovered over the last couple of weeks with them. Hazelnuts, first off, have a very high soluble fiber content in comparison to other nuts. So when you're comparing nut to nut, you can't really just look at fiber as a whole. Okay, if you were to look at almonds, you would see that they have a bunch of fiber. That doesn't mean that that fiber is good. There's insoluble fiber and there's soluble fiber. And most of the time, nuts do not have a lot of soluble fiber. Hazelnuts are the one exception. Soluble fiber, for lack of a better term, is like metabolically, I don't want to say active, but it actually has an ability to feed your microbiome. Insoluble fiber just makes you poop. Soluble fiber actually can alter your gut biome. Okay, so there's a huge benefit there. So having a high amount of soluble fiber with that is very powerful. Hey, before I forget, don't forget to hit the red subscribe button down below. And then also don't forget to hit that weird looking little bell icon. That way you get a little ding every time I post a new video. You don't want to miss them. And then after this video, check out Thrive Market. If you do low carb, anything like that, you definitely want to check them out because they're an online membership-based grocery store. I almost exclusively use them for my pantry goods now. Seriously, like I just use them all the time because it comes right to my doorstep. So anything I need keto or fasting related, paleo related that can go in the pantry comes to my doorstep through them, or I get it shipped if I'm traveling somewhere, like to an Airbnb, I'll just have a Thrive box show up. It has made my life so much easier and it makes it so that I can focus on the things that I love the most, which is my family and working on my business, which is doing this, right? So make sure you check them out down below, and big thank you to Thrive Market for the continued support on this channel. So the soluble fiber has this effect on our gut, which in turn has a signaling effect to our brain, which in turn turns on a lot of fat burning mechanisms, which also turns on glucose handling mechanisms. What that means is eating some hazelnuts might make you utilize your carbs better, and it might activate certain genes that potentially allow you to use fat better. But it doesn't stop there. There was a cool study that was published in the Journal of Oxidative Medicine and Cellular Longevity. This study published that hazelnuts contain something that activated what is called SOD1 and CAT. Now, that doesn't matter. What those little suckers do is they encode genes that activate what is called superoxide dismutase. Now, you've probably clicked off the video, but for you lucky ducks that are sticking with this video, you get to hear what that actually means. Superoxide dismutase is like your body's, let's call it like internal med spa. Okay, like that's kind of your body's ability to like notice that there's some aging going on. So maybe it course corrects a little bit. Okay, we want to have good amounts of that. So when you're looking at healthy cellular aging and promoting that, there's a good chance that hazelnuts may have a positive benefit with that. That's really cool. At least the research is starting to allude to that, which captivates me. But the piece that intrigued me even more had something to do with PPAR gamma. Now, let me explain something. If you have some fat on your body, okay, that fat is called adipose tissue, and that adipose tissue generally leaks inflammation. It's a natural trait of fat. It leaks inflammation, and that inflammation can cause all kinds of issues within the body, right? We got to be careful with that. So one of the biggest things is as we get leaner, generally you see inflammatory markers coming down. Well, something lives inside our fat. Okay, it's called PPAR gamma. It doesn't really live, it's a protein. Okay, if we increase the amount of this protein, it can blunt how much inflammation is leaked out of fat. It turns out that hazelnuts, through an indirect process, upregulate PPAR gamma. So it could mean that it allows your fat to stop pumping those harmful things out, which has a side effect of us potentially being able to burn it easier because our body's running more efficiently. So in the general world of the ketogenic diet, where a large part of what we are after is modulating inflammatory responses, well, this could just be the perfect Tweedledee Tweedledum effect to double whammy it, right? That means that we're coming at it from different angles with an anti-inflammatory response. Really fascinating stuff. But then when you actually start breaking down what's in hazelnuts more, you realize, well, they're 80% monounsaturated fats. Like, they're actually a really good fat profile, much like macadamia nuts. They're not as stellar as a macadamia nut, maybe not as stellar as a pili nut, but a whole different ballgame. So I'm going to start adding hazelnuts into my mix. I'm going to start cooking with hazelnut flour more, because you have almond flour, which is fine, but it's full of phytic acid, it's full of oxalates, it's full of these things that you don't really want in abundance. But hazelnuts, you get a decent fatty acid profile, you get the SOD1 and the CAT, you get the superoxide dismutase activation. Heck, it seems like a perfectly good solution. So hazelnut flour, when you're baking, anyway, I just wanted to share something cool. Start adding hazelnuts to your diet and maybe you'll notice a positive response. Pretty cool. See you tomorrow.